Happiness. It's the one thing everyone is searching for, yet no one seems to fully understand. We chase it through relationships, money, success, and recognition. We think it's hiding somewhere just beyond the next achievement, the next purchase, or the next like. But the truth is, your brain is both the thief and the guardian of your own happiness. It creates the illusion of chasing something outside, when all along it was running a program inside, one that you can rewrite. The first step to tricking your brain into being happier is understanding that happiness is not an emotion. It's a state of neurochemical balance. Your brain does not care if you're living in a mansion or in a studio apartment. It only cares about chemicals. Dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, endorphins. These are the invisible forces shaping your perception of joy. When they're in harmony, life feels good. When they're out of sync, everything feels off. Think of your brain as a scientist that loves prediction. It constantly compares what you expect with what actually happens. Every moment it's running silent equations. Did this outcome match my expectation? If yes, a small dose of dopamine is released. If not, your brain withholds the reward. That's why you can achieve something great and still feel nothing. Because your expectation rose faster than reality could deliver. This is called the hedonic treadmill. It's your brain's way of keeping you chasing more without ever letting you rest. From an evolutionary perspective, it made sense. The humans who were never satisfied were the ones who kept hunting, building, and surviving. But in the modern world, it turns you into an emotional addict, constantly seeking hits of dopamine from messages, achievements, and screens. So, how do you trick the system? How do you make your brain give you more happiness from the same ordinary life? The secret lies not in changing your reality, but in changing what your brain perceives as rewarding. Imagine two people drinking the same cup of coffee. One says, "It's just coffee." The other says, "This is the first quiet moment I've had all day." Chemically, the coffee is identical, but their brains are running two different programs. One gets a small spark of dopamine, the other, a wave of contentment. The difference? Awareness. Your brain amplifies what you pay attention to. If you constantly focus on what's missing, it keeps releasing cortisol, the stress hormone, and downregulates serotonin. But when you deliberately pay attention to small, positive details, warmth of sunlight, the comfort of a friend's voice, the taste of good food, you train your brain to produce more serotonin naturally. This isn't positive thinking, it's neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself through repetition. But dopamine, that's the tricky one. Dopamine doesn't measure pleasure, it measures anticipation. It's the chemical of pursuit, not possession. The moment you get what you want, dopamine drops. That's why the high from buying something new or achieving a goal fades so quickly. The secret to lasting happiness isn't having more dopamine. It's learning to stretch it. Here's how you trick dopamine into working for you instead of against you. Break big goals into small milestones. Each micro-achievement triggers a new dopamine release, keeping your motivation alive. Celebrate progress, not just outcomes. Your brain is built to chase feedback, so give it feedback often. And here's something even more powerful. Occasionally remove small pleasures on purpose. Skip your favorite snack for a day, delay watching that show, or avoid checking social media. When you reintroduce the pleasure, dopamine spikes higher, just like it did when you were a kid. This is called dopamine resensitization, and it's one of the oldest mental tricks humans have rediscovered in the digital age. Still, chemicals alone can't explain the entire picture. Your brain is also governed by stories, the inner narratives you repeat without realizing it. Every belief you hold creates a lens that filters reality. If your story says, "I'm never enough," your brain will filter out evidence of success and amplify every failure. But if you change the story, even slightly, your perception begins to shift. Cognitive behavioral therapy calls this reframing, but it's really self-directed neuroengineering. You are editing your own code. When you consciously reinterpret a negative event as a challenge instead of a punishment, your amygdala, the brain's emotional alarm center, quiets down. Blood flow increases to your prefrontal cortex, giving you better reasoning and control. The event didn't change, but your experience of it did. That's the essence of tricking your brain. One of the simplest rewiring tools is language. The words you use to describe your experiences are signals to your nervous system. Saying, "I'm overwhelmed," tells your brain to release more stress hormones. Saying, "I'm challenged," activates problem-solving circuits instead. Tiny linguistic shifts, repeated often, create real biochemical differences over time. But happiness isn't just the absence of pain. It's the ability to find meaning inside pain. Your brain is designed to learn from discomfort. When you resist it, you extend it. When you face it, you metabolize it. This is what Viktor Frankl, the Austrian psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, meant when he wrote, "Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how." Meaning gives your suffering a structure, and when the mind finds structure, it feels safer. That's when serotonin and oxytocin begin to return, creating a sense of calm. You've probably felt this after crying deeply, after speaking a truth, after forgiving someone. That sudden relief. That's your nervous system releasing emotional tension and returning to balance. In many ways, happiness is not something to find, but something to return to. You were born with it. A child laughs around 300 times a day, the average adult fewer than 20. What changed wasn't the world, it was your focus. As the brain matured, it learned fear, comparison, and control. It learned to chase and to defend, instead of to notice and enjoy. But every day offers a doorway back. The trick isn't in massive life changes, it's in micro habits that gently reprogram your brain toward joy. Simple things: sunlight in the morning, deep breathing before reacting, journaling before sleep, brief moments of silence. These are not cliches, they are neurochemical resets. If you sit quietly for even 1 minute, noticing your breath and letting thoughts pass, you reduce activity in the default mode network, the brain's rumination system, and activate the present moment circuits instead. Over time, this shifts the brain from thinking about happiness to feeling it. Most people never notice this subtle difference. They wait for the world to give them reasons to feel good. But the brain doesn't work that way. It waits for you to give it instructions. When you act as if you're already safe, already grateful, already enough, your nervous system begins to mirror that internal state. This is the psychology behind ancient meditation practices and modern behavioral science alike. You can't always control your emotions, but you can control the environment that breeds them, your thoughts, your routines, your focus. Think of your mind as a garden. Dopamine is the water, serotonin is the sunlight, oxytocin is the soil, and endorphins are the flowers. If you water weeds, resentment, fear, envy, they grow faster. But if you water gratitude, purpose, and connection, the weeds lose ground naturally. And here's the paradox. The more you try to force happiness, the more your brain resists. Because happiness isn't a command, it's a consequence. A side effect of living in alignment with your values, your biology, and your awareness. That's why people who volunteer, who express gratitude, or who lose themselves in creative work report higher levels of happiness even when life is difficult. Their focus is external, service, meaning, creation, and the brain rewards them internally. Tricking your brain into happiness is not manipulation, it's cooperation. It's learning to work with the design, not against it. When you understand how the system works, you stop being a prisoner of moods and start being a co-creator of them. Your brain is a magnificent paradox, powerful enough to imagine entire worlds, yet fragile enough to be shaped by the smallest thoughts. Every second, billions of neurons are firing, wiring, and rewiring in response to what you think, say, and do. The great secret most people never realize is that happiness is not a reaction to life. It is a creation by the brain itself. When you wake up in the morning, before you even open your eyes, your brain begins to predict how your day will go. It remembers yesterday's emotions, last week's disappointments, the tone of the messages waiting on your phone. In those few seconds, it builds a forecast, a neural weather report that decides whether today will feel good or bad. The problem is, the forecast isn't based on facts. It's based on memory and habit. But you can intervene. Before the brain completes that prediction, you can introduce a single thought that reshapes the pattern. What if today surprises me? It sounds simple, but that single question hijacks the predictive loop. It forces your brain to anticipate possibility instead of repetition. And anticipation is dopamine's favorite food. This is the art of gentle self-deception. Not lying to yourself, but leading your brain in a direction that serves you. When you smile, even artificially, your facial muscles send feedback to your limbic system that you're safe. When you breathe slowly, your vagus nerve signals calm to your amygdala. When you hold someone's gaze with genuine warmth, your oxytocin levels rise, softening the entire nervous system. These are not metaphors. They are physical truths. Modern neuroscience calls this embodied cognition, the idea that the body doesn't just express emotion, it creates it. So when you change your posture, your tone, your breathing, you're literally reprogramming the emotion before it even forms. The ancient Stoics understood this long before fMRI machines existed. Epictetus wrote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." They practiced what we now call emotional reframing, the skill of observing your feelings without being consumed by them. Every time you do that, you strengthen the prefrontal cortex, your brain's control center, and weaken the hold of impulsive emotion. So maybe the most powerful way to trick your brain is not by forcing it to be happy, but by teaching it to pause before judgment, to give every experience, even pain, the benefit of curiosity. When something goes wrong, instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" The brain loves purpose. It will build entire emotional ecosystems around any question you feed it. Feed it despair, and it gives you hopelessness. Feed it curiosity, and it gives you resilience. Over time, this becomes automatic. You start noticing moments of peace where you used to feel anger. You find gratitude in places you once ignored. You laugh at situations that would have broken you months ago. That's neuroplasticity in motion. Not a motivational quote, but a biological transformation. Still, there's another ingredient most people forget: connection. The human brain is a social organ. We evolved in tribes where belonging meant survival. Loneliness is not just an emotion, it's a biological alarm. Chronic isolation triggers the same neural pathways as physical pain. That's why even introverts need connection, not constant company, but meaningful exchange. A shared laugh, a conversation that feels seen, a quiet presence beside you. When you engage authentically with others, your brain releases oxytocin, the molecule of trust and bonding. It lowers stress, improves immunity, and increases emotional stability. In other words, kindness is chemical. And the paradox is that giving it away increases your own supply. When you make someone else feel safe, your own nervous system receives that message too. So if you ever feel lost or low, start small. Send a message of appreciation to someone who doesn't expect it. Listen without interrupting. Smile at a stranger. Not to get something back, but to remind your own brain that the world still contains warmth. Each act of connection recalibrates your emotional circuits towards safety and contentment. Now let us talk about one final trick, the one that turns fleeting happiness into enduring peace, acceptance. Your brain's deepest illusion is control. It wants to believe it can predict, plan, and prevent everything. But life doesn't work that way. Every time you resist uncertainty, you create stress. Every time you accept it, not passively but with calm awareness, your nervous system relaxes and a subtle joy arises. The Japanese call this wabi-sabi, the beauty of imperfection and impermanence. You've probably felt it before, that strange peace after crying or after letting go of something you can't change. That's your brain finally aligning with reality instead of fighting it. The moment resistance dissolves, serotonin flows freely again. So maybe happiness isn't about making life perfect. Maybe it's about making peace with the fact that it never will be, and choosing joy anyway. When you begin to live this way, you stop chasing happiness like a destination. You start generating it as a byproduct of awareness. The brain you once thought of as your enemy becomes your greatest ally. Every chemical, every signal, every thought begins to work in your favor, not because the world changed, but because you changed how you see it. And here's the beautiful irony. The moment you stop chasing happiness, it finds you. It hides in ordinary things, in laughter, in breathing, in the quiet hum of being alive. You don't need to force it. You only need to notice it. Because happiness is not a prize. It's a practice. It's not something you earn. It's something you allow. So the next time your mind tells you that joy is far away, remember this. Your brain is listening to every word you say, every thought you repeat. Talk to it like a friend. Train it like an ally. Lead it gently toward gratitude, presence, and meaning. The chemistry will follow, and one day you'll wake up and realize that you didn't trick your brain into happiness. You taught it how to come home. If this message resonated with you, if it made you pause, breathe, or see your own mind in a new light, don't let it end here. Subscribe to MindDecode HQ for more deep dives into psychology, neuroscience, and the hidden patterns that shape your mind. Every week, we decode another layer of human consciousness, one thought at a time. Because understanding your brain isn't just knowledge, it's freedom.